It's a beautiful day here in Copenhagen and welcome to Brexit on the Streets. I'm Dio Delaney, your presenter. Today we are here at CBS, the short for Copenhagen Business School, where the next generations of Danish business leaders are being trained. They will go on to work for some of Denmark's largest companies, many of whom will be impacted by Brexit. It's been nearly 9 months since the triggering of Article 50 that will see Britain leave the EU. Progress throughout these Brexit negotiations have been slow and the Danes remain on the edge ever since. Britain was a big part of why Denmark entered the EU in the first place and represents its fourth largest trading partner. Britain is very important to the country's major industries and its 300,000 SMEs, from its pork and dairy exports to fishing rights in the North Sea and its mighty offshore wind industry. Danish businesses have a lot to lose from Brexit. Today we'll be talking to students in Copenhagen Business School, asking them how do they see Brexit affecting their studies, future employers and career paths.
Obviously the UK is renowned for its education, so they would like to retain that status within the EU, attracting people from all over the place.
I have considered moving to the UK for studying my master's, and I can certainly say that it is a little insecure what the future will actually bring. So it's probably not gonna change my mind about it, but it will probably make it a little bit harder.
They cannot be a part of the Erasmus program.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid it's not going to be that easy to study in London.
It makes me sad actually, because I think it's really important that people from the UK can go to the rest of Europe to study and Danish people can go to UK and study. I think it's really, really important because that's the way you broaden your horizon. I lived in China, for example. It gives me way better sight into Chinese matters, like how does it work in China, how does social life works, right? And yeah, I think a lot of Danish students are probably gonna feel hard. It's gonna be way harder for them to go to the UK and get an insight on UK matters.
We get our scholarships for free in Denmark as EU citizens, and obviously when we leave the EU, what happens? I don't know if I'm going to retain that or, I'm going to have to start paying. I applied for double citizenship. And I think that a huge amount of Brits abroad did the same. I think that a lot of them tried to get passports in the countries that they're in, because then they also have a foot inside the EU.
If I were to work for a Danish company, Brexit might make it difficult for me to go and work abroad.
So do you see European business, the face of European business changing as a result of Brexit?
Definitely do so. But I believe that in 10 or 15 years, things will settle down and you will see, like with Norway and Switzerland, that they will have a fine partnership.
It's the first time in the history of the EU that they have actually experienced a nation state leaving the cooperation. So yeah, I think it's really interesting to see what the future might bring.
Well, what I know is it brings a huge amount of uncertainty. I don't think anyone really knows where it's going to go.
Those were students from Copenhagen Business School speaking to me. They expressed fear that they may not be able to access the British education system as the result of Brexit. This is something they feel strongly that politicians should engage with as they go through these negotiations. Until next week, when we will be talking to actual Danish businesses, I'm Dio Delaney from Copenhagen.